What's up, you beautiful people? Welcome to the podcast. So I charge $1,700 an hour to consult 8-figure businesses that are trying to scale to 9 figures. That is an outrageous sum of money if you're doing 5, 6, 7 figures even. And so instead of having you pay me that amount to come into your business, open up the hood, tell you where the problems are, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to give you just a simple framework. This is one of the most common frameworks that I utilize when I go into these businesses to point out where they have opportunity for improvement. So this is my most common advice, so you don't have to pay me, right? And it revolves around this really simple concept, which is people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And you've heard that a million times before. And it sounds just so trite. You're like, cool, know, like, and trust. But you can actually break this down into its component parts and then build your funnel around them. And the way I think about this is that you want to own people's eyes, then their minds, then their hearts. And if you do that, you get money. So we start with eyeballs. What is your current mechanism for getting in front of people to build awareness, to make them conscious of you as an entity in the universe, right? What is your mechanism? What I find for a lot of people is that they don't have like a clearly defined avenue for growth. They're here on this platform. They're over here on this platform. They do a little bit of this, like they'll run some billboard ads. They'll be in the newspaper. They'll run a couple of Facebook ads every now and then. They'll have like their fingers in like 7 different pies, seeing kind of what works, but none of it ends up working really, really well. And so even at that level, when you're doing 8 figures and you're trying to go beyond that, that's the point where those guys have really started to dial in their acquisition channels and their awareness channels. At 8 figures, people they're starting to become known within their industry and to their avatars. For you though, where you're at, if you're doing, say $50,000 a year to $500,000 a year, people probably don't know who you are. And so like just dying of obscurity is the number one issue that you're facing. How do you build awareness? Well, there's a bunch of different ways that you could do this. You could just go knock on doors. You could that's like the cold outreach, being a hunter, right? Get on the phone, you go walk to the office of your prospective customer and you just sit in their lobby and then pitch the owner, right? A lot of different ways that you can do it. That's hunting. But my favorite these days, given the fact that we have access to unlimited leverage with, our phones just at fingertips here, is becoming a farmer and raising awareness for what you do by putting out seeds. That's content onto this little thing that you might have heard of called social media. So not all social media platforms are created equal. They can all work in terms of raising awareness, but some are just better than others. TikTok generally is not going to produce the kind of awareness that is going to lead to intentional buyers that you want to work with. And so for most people, what I recommend is that you use either LinkedIn or Instagram as your awareness channels, because both of those have incredible organic capacity. You put out a reel on Instagram. We have a reel right now that just cracked 100,000 views. Huzzah, right? That's 100,000 people who did not know who we were beforehand. And now we have some kind of relationship with them because now they are at least conscious that we exist, right? On LinkedIn, it's the same thing. LinkedIn is a little bit better if you're more B2B. Instagram is a little bit better if you're B2C. But honestly, I wouldn't use that distinction and take it as like law, because both can be great. Like all business people are on Instagram. Like they're just over there scrolling the memes and stuff, but you can get in front of them and pitch them your services in the same way that like all consumers are on LinkedIn. So like it doesn't have to be this dichotomy if you're B2B or B2C, be on one or the other. The way I think about it though, is if you're more of a writer, be on LinkedIn. If you're more of a speaker, video person, go to Instagram. But that's going to be where you put out the content that raises awareness, gets people, to put their eyeballs on you. So that's stage 1. Next is we need a way to occupy space inside of their minds. And so this is where we build consideration, where we build, we establish our expertise and we start building trust. Like, what is your trust platform? Hands down, the best trust platform is YouTube. Like it's not even close, right? Like this is the second largest search engine in the world. It's owned by the largest search engine in the world. It's the place that people go to when they want to learn something. It's the number one learning platform. So if you want to learn, how do I save money on XYZ? There's a good chance if you help people save money on XYZ and you have content that has helped solve that problem, that your stuff is going to get presented to that avatar, right? Now, the beauty of YouTube and why I think it's so powerful as the trust building platform is it just allows you to go so much deeper with somebody, right? Establish a relationship where they can see your face, they can hear your voice, and they can go deep. And it starts to breed what's called a parasocial relationship. As they consume more and more of your content, which presumably your YouTube content is going to be longer than your Instagram content or your LinkedIn content, they're going to create a parasocial relationship with you where they believe they know you. They get to know your likes, your foibles, the things that you stand for, the things that you're against, right? They establish more of a relationship with you and they start to trust you as a consequence. Now, this is also very powerful because YouTube, when done correctly, can also start to breed affinity. And affinity is critical if we want people to like us, right? Because I might see your content on Instagram. You got my eyeballs, but it's so quick. 60 seconds isn't enough time often to decide whether or not I really like somebody. I might be entertained by you, but I don't necessarily decide I like you more than that other person. Whereas YouTube, if you create great content there, and you are sharing your story, you're sharing value in a way that actually helps people, they can build that relationship with you and come out the other side saying, I know this person, I like this person, I trust this person. And then you have the ability to convert that individual at a much higher rate. Now, you could do the conversion through like your email list, sending them to a checkout page. You could run retargeting ads back to these people who have consumed your content on Instagram and then warmed up with you on YouTube. There's so many different ways that we can then leverage those eyeballs and turn them into dollar bills. But you really need to have at its core a way to grab people's eyeballs, a way to occupy space in their minds, and then just squirm in there and find a little place to call home inside their heart. And if you do that, you're going to scale. You're going to scale from wherever you're at right now. You're going to grow. And let me tie this back full circle, right? Because I started this by saying that I consult 8-figure businesses to help them grow. The one that people struggle with the most at that level, just so you can kind of see what the roadmap lies ahead for you, is that last part, the liking part. Like, as you get bigger, you get more corporate, you get more cold. And the reasons that people would choose to work with you versus somebody else, they become less tied to the individual, the person, and more to the brand, the feature of the product, right? And so the difficulty that they have is like, how do we continue to establish and grow this brand from say 10 million a year to $100 million a year without losing the affinity of our audience? Because it's very easy. Like, you might not realize it right now, but if you're doing $10,000 to $50,000 a year as a content creator, as a service business, you have a unique advantage right now, which is that like you're the underdog. People, they're rooting for you, right? And so like, if I come into your funnel, if I see you on Instagram, then I go to your YouTube, I'm naturally going to have more affinity towards you than if you were an 8-figure brand that has really fancy graphics and like really polished marketing messages, right? It's harder to fall in love with that type of company. And so that's actually one of the things that we have to work on is like, how do you de-polish your business to still stay authentic to the avatar that you serve? That's a problem for future you. For now, go figure out how to get your get the eyeballs, get the mind, own the heart, grow your business. That'll do it for me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.